What up, y'all? It's your boy LB, man, here with my top 20 worst Piston players of all time. Now, this is my list. Some of y'all may not agree with my list, but this is what I just came up with 20 minutes ago. Detroit versus everybody. Y'all should do a list like this, man. Top 20 worst players of all time, top 15, top 10. I would love to see y'all list, man, so I can get a good laugh at it and hear y'all roast these players, man. But this is my list. Hope y'all enjoy. Let's get to it. Number 20, Rodney Stuckey. Some of you Pistons fans may say, why Rodney Stuckey on this list? He wasn't that bad of a player for the Pistons. Man, he's on this list because Joe Dumars sold us the idea that he was going to be the next Chauncey Billups. And boy, he did not live up to that billing at all. We got worse, matter of fact, when we drafted him. Uh, credit Rodney Stuckey. He did score 40 points against the Chicago Bulls. I thought he was going to do something after that game, but he didn't. He was way too inconsistent with the mid-range shot. He was never a three-point shooter. Some nights he would hit the mid-range shot, but for the most part he was inconsistent. He was known for he was supposed to be known for going to the rim, creating contact and scoring while creating contact. And too often he did not score off of that contact. They tried to make him into the primary point guard, but he was more of a combo guard to me, a scoring shooting guard, but he was bad at that. So Rodney Stuckey has to make this list solely because Joe Dumars sold us the idea that he was going to be the next Chauncey Billups, and boy was he not at all. So that's why he's number 20, because he did play so kind of okay with us, but for the most part he was a bad Piston player. Let's just face it. Number 19, Jonas Jerebko. He was one of the guys I liked it back in 2012, man. He used to come in, get the crowd hyped. He used to go all out on the hustle game. He used to hit a couple threes, get the crowd involved, man. He was an energizer bunny for a weak-ass team, man, and I thought he had a future. But then he tore his Achilles, and he never looked at the same with the Pistons, man. He couldn't score, for real. He wasn't a consistent three-point shooter. He wasn't a consistent mid-range shooter. He couldn't create for others. He couldn't create for himself. He wasn't that great of a free throw shooter. He just wasn't that good, man. I thought he had a future before he tore his Achilles, but that Achilles fucked him up. He did have an okay year with the Boston Celtics this past season, so Jonas Jerebko, sorry, you got to make this list, brother. You was a horrible player, and you was part of the regime. You was part of the era when the Pistons were just horrible for 6 straight, 7 years and shit like that. So Jonas Jerebko, number 17. Number 18, Kyle Singler. Now, y'all know how much I hate Kyle Singler. He could be number 10, number 5 on this list easily. But he did get $25 million contract from OKC. I don't know how. He's not worth $25 million. He's not worth $2 million to me. But I'm not gonna hate on the man pockets. Get your money, my brother. But you was horrible. Kyle Singer was supposed to be the bucket man, but he was far from that. He was an airball man or a brick man. He couldn't score off the dribble. He couldn't create for others. He couldn't hit the three consistently. He wasn't a great free throw shooter. I think Kyle Singer had more fouls than points. I always said that. I just think he had more fouls than points as a Piston. He was just horrible to me, man. His basketball awareness was horrible. Offensive awareness was horrible. Defensive awareness was horrible. Like, that's all he do is foul to me and send people to the line, man, to get easy points. And he was just a horrible Piston player, man. And I'm glad he's not on our team no more, man. Stan Van Gundy, when we traded him, he was like, I really didn't want to get rid of Kyle Singler. Boy, that's a fucking lie. You got rid of his ass because your ass wanted Reggie Jackson, but you also knew his ass was trash. You didn't really want that motherfucker. The fuck out of here. Number 17. I'm not going to explain all these because the video would be too long. But if you're a Pistons fan, man, and you've been watching, you will know some of these guys, man. Number 17, Jarvis Hayes. He played with us for a few years, man. Horrible player. Wasn't too good, man. Got minutes, and I don't know why he got minutes. It's just horrible. Number 16, Nazi motherfucking bum-ass Muhammad. He's on this list because he was a horrible Piston player, but I gotta commend the guy for continuing to stay on teams, man, and continuing to collect checks, even though he don't even play in the game. He's like Joel Anthony. You know what I'm saying? He's like fucking Joel Anthony, man. Horrible, man. He just horrible motherfucking player. One of the top 5 worst centers of all times in my book. Nazi Muhammad, man. Trash, man. This guy couldn't shoot for shit. He couldn't play defense. He moved slow. The guy was just horrible, man. He was just horrible, but he wasn't bad as Joel Anthony. I tell you that much. Joel Anthony is trash to me. He just horrible. I don't even know how he was on it. I don't even know how he's on our team. But that's number 16, Nazi Muhammad. Number 15, Maurice Evans. Y'all remember him back in 2006 when we won like 46 games that year, I believe, with Flip Saunders and shit. They was trying to make him into something, and it just wasn't hitting. They were trying to make him into a 3-point shooter. He couldn't really shoot threes like that. He can dunk, but overall, he was just a horrible player, and that's why he didn't last with us that long. Um, Number 14, Montagne Cleese. Bring that ass here, boy. Yo ass is trash, man. I think we drafted him in 2001. This is one of the underrated that Pistons fans don't really speak about worst draft picks of all times. Montagne Cleaves. Uh, the guy was horrible. He was coming off of, he was playing with Michigan State. He was coming off of, they won a chip that year. And he came to us at number 14. We picked him. He was horrible. He averaged 5 points. He wasn't athletic. He couldn't shoot the three. He couldn't shoot mid range. He was just a horrible player, and that's why he only lasted 1 season with the Pistons. And now his ass is going through, finna go to trial for trying to take some pussy or something. I don't know what the fuck, but so not congrats, but I hope you can get out of that. But if you did some shit like that, boy, your ass need to get the motherfucking elbow, for real. But one of the worst Piston players of all times, man, Montagne Cleaves. You gotta get it, my brother. You gotta get it, man. Number 13, Flip Murray. Flip Murray can dribble. Some nights he'll get hot, go on the little streak, shooting streak. But overall, he was a horrible Piston player. Let's just face it. He didn't change the game. He didn't make the team better. He was just a horrible point guard, man. And he had some dribbling moves. He'd give you a little crossover 1, 2, 3 spin move or some shit like that. But overall, man, he's just a horrible Piston player, and that's why he's on his list. Number 12, Chris Wilcox. Now, he's a product of the Seattle Supersonics before they became OKC, and I think he was still with them when they came OKC, and then we got him, and he was just a horrible player for us. He wasn't himself. He was kind of good for the Sonics. I mean, he'd dunk on your ass in a hurry. But overall, he was just a horrible Pistons player. And he was just a waste of time. I don't know why Joe Dumars did this, but it was just a waste of time, man. Number 11, Corey McGiddy. You got to get it, man. Horrible Pistons player. I think he only played 1 season with us a few years ago. Horrible player. He was out of his time. He did average 20 points per game before he came to us. He was a good player in this league for a few years and shit. But when he came to us, he was horrible. He was washed up, and he knew what he used to be saying in the interviews. He was horrible. So Corey McGiddy, you has to make this top 20 worst Piston player list of all times. You just have to, because he was a horrible Piston player. Number 10, Carlos Arroyos. Eric Snow 2.0, horrible point guard. He can dribble too, and he can get to the hole on you. But he was a horrible player overall, and that's why he didn't last with the Pistons, man. I know a lot of you Pistons fans probably forgot about Carlos Arroyos, but horrible player, man. I don't know how a team let him put up 30 points on him. Your team has to be trash. You let Carlos Arroyos put up 30 points on you. He was trash. Number 9, man. Number 9, I'ma say Johnny Flynn. Johnny Flynn was a guy that got picked before Steph Curry, boy. A team picked him. I think the Timberwolves picked him before Steph Curry. I don't even think he played for us, boy, but he was on our roster, man. He was on our team on the bench. So just for that, boy, you has to make the top 10, top 20 worst Piston player list of all time, boy. Yo ass is trash, boy. Yo ass supposed to be the next big thing, and yo ass is fucking bust, boy. You gotta be in the top 20 draft busts of all times too. Yo ass is trash, man. You got picked before Steph Curry, bro. Trash. Number 8, Tony Mitchell. He was in the draft with KCP, man. Horrible player, man. He can jump out of the gym. He can dunk, but his basketball IQ was fucked up. He looked like a deer in the headlights for the most part. He couldn't pass. He couldn't shoot. He couldn't do nothing, bro. He was stiff. He couldn't do shit. Horrible player, man. Horrible Piston player, and I'm glad Stan Van Gundy got him off the team. Number 7, Kim fucking English. Boy, he was trash. Trash. Small ass shooting guard. Was supposed to be a shooter. He was in the same draft with KCP. Horrible player. I think he lasted the whole season, but he was horrible. Now you will see his ass at the summer league, basketball summer league, sitting behind the rim and shit, taking notes and shit. Probably he probably scout now, man. That was one of the worst draft picks. I think he got picked in the 2nd round, but he was a horrible 2nd round pick, man. It's horrible, trash, man. Kim English. So you gotta make this list, boy. And that's an ugly motherfucker. Number 6, Josh Smith. Bring that ass here, boy. Now Josh Smith could be number 3 on this list, but it's worse. It's worse for players than him. So He did have 30-point games for us. He had a couple big nights for us. He has stacked stuffed the stack sheet some nights, man. So he did have some good nights with us, but for the most part, he was a fucking complete bust. Um, he got too much money for nothing. It's like he came to the Pistons and said, "I quit basketball." He was horrible. He tried to become a three-point shooter. That wasn't his game. Before he came to us, he was a good player for the Atlanta Hawks. He can get in the post. He'll dunk on you. He get his teammates involved. But when he came to us, he did totally opposite. Uh, he tried to be a three-point shooter. His free throws got worse and worse. The guy just gave up on basketball, man, and that's why I don't think he's going to make a team next year. If he do make a team next year, I'd be surprised. But Josh Smith, he has to be on this list, man. One of the worst Pistons players of all time, bro. Of all times. Period. Hands down. I don't care what nobody say. Josh Smith gotta make this list. Number 5, Ben Gordon. Ben Gordon, man, he used to piss me off, man. He used to be missing shots left to right, and it's crazy because before he came to us, man, he was the truth for the Chicago Bulls, man. He was the fucking man for the Chicago Bulls. He came to us and lost his game. I don't know what it is with people, man. They come to the Pistons and forget how to shoot. Come to the Pistons, forget how to play basketball. Ben Gordon was the shit for the Chicago Bulls, and then he came to us, and then he just laid an egg, man, and he was never the same again. I don't even think he played this season because he's that trash, man. He used to be pissing me off, man. When we first got him, I was happy we got him because he was balling for the Bulls. But I guess that was just pure luck, I guess. Number 4, Charlie motherfucking Villanueva. Boy, now I see why Joe Dumars paid him all that money because he was balling for the Bucks, I believe he played with. He was balling, I think he was averaged like 18 points a game. He was a good three-point shooter. He was a good player for them, and I seen him play for them a few times, and I liked his game. But when he came to the Pistons, boy, he left his motherfucking track shoes, his gym shorts at the crib because his ass was horrible. He couldn't hit a three no more. He wasn't a three-point shooter no more. He couldn't do nothing, man. Horrible player. Collected all that money for nothing. But like I said, man, I'm not gonna hate on nobody getting their cash. Get your cash, man. But you was one of the top worst Pistons players of all times, my brother. Number 3, Austin Day. Gots to get it, man. Fake ass Chauncey Billups, man. Not Chauncey Billups, but Tayshaun Prince. This guy was lanky. He couldn't shoot. Sometimes he would airball mid-range jump shots. He couldn't play defense. This guy was horrible. He moved slow, dribbled slow. This guy was one of the worst Pistons players of all times, man. He's got to be number 3. Charlie Villanueva could be number 3 on this list, to be honest with you. But I'm gonna leave it at Austin Day because he was just a horrible player, and he never turned out to what people thought he was going to be. Number 2, Kwame Brown. Now, I don't know why Joe Dumars brought him on the team. Kwame Brown is one of the worst draft busts of all times. And for him to be on, to even play on my Pistons team, he has to be on this list. If you're one of the worst draft busts of all times, man, this guy was trash, man. Some nights he was scared to grab the ball. He couldn't. He'd be open at the rim and miss a wide open shot. He couldn't do nothing. This guy was horrible. Couldn't rebound. Kobe had said that one time they was playing together, and Kwame Brown was like, "Don't pass me the ball. I'm scared." Go look at it on YouTube. Just type in Kobe talking about Kwame Brown, dog. That shit was so funny, dog. How the fuck you scared? You that big and you scared, man, at the moment. Get the fuck out of here, boy. And I don't know how he lasted that long in the NBA, but he lasted some time in the NBA. But Kwame Brown, one of the worst Pistons players of all time. So, King, I agree with you, bro. I already had that in mind. Kwame Brown was going to be number 2, and that brings me to Darko motherfucker Milovich. That nigga is garbage. I don't understand what Joe Dumars was thinking, man. You had all them Hall of Famers in that draft. You had Carmelo, LeBron, Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh, and there was a few other motherfuckers, man, that panned out to be good players in that draft, and you went with Darko. This motherfucker, the bench used to be happy. The starters used to be happy if he made a shot. This motherfucker used to be missing wide open. He couldn't do nothing. It's like they didn't even look at him as a product. It's like they just grabbed him because he was tall. This motherfucker was trash, man. He couldn't do a goddamn thing. That shit's sad, man. That shit's sad how bad he was, man. He was like, I think I had so much hate for him, man. And It was ridiculous, and I don't even really hate people for real, but he was that trash, man. Some guys got left off, man, like Tracy McGrady, Ella Iverson. I'm not gonna disrespect them, man. Theo Ratliff, he could have got on there. Walter Herman, and shit like that. But I left it at that, man. Let me know what y'all think. It's your boy LB. I'm gone. Salute.